Welcome, mortal friends, to the Haunted Mansion Show. I am your host, your ghost host. I suppose many of you are wondering where I have been for the past 2 months. Well, seeing as it's Halloween, I have done some trick-or-treating of my own. But instead of rather indigestible sweets, I have found a different kind of treats. You see, as you know, one of our favorite pastimes is collecting certain artifacts from creepy old crypts all over the world. So I and a few select live volunteers have been traveling and collecting certain items that may be of eerie interest to you, each one with a story and a grisly fate for all. As for the live volunteers, those who have survived, well, I choose to keep that confidential, but as you can see, the results have been more than frighteningly fruitful. So, let's see what the damage is this year, shall we? A map of Sleepy Hollow. Now this one I have found right in the middle of town, just before the villagers went utterly mad because of one thing, and that was the Headless Horseman. Although I can't imagine why. After all he wants is a human head. Is that so hard to ask for? Well, in the case of one of our volunteers, I suppose not. Now this right here was one of the spare masks from the lair of the Palais Granier at Paris. You see, the theater has been known for a whole matter of wonderful operas, but other voices are known to be echoing through the cavernous walls of the theater. Not who, more of a what. They call him a Phantom of the Opera, and I happened to grab one of his spare masks. After all, he's been gone from the palace for far too long. I hardly think that he needs this one anymore. Let's see here. Oh, this is the Calico Gazette. Not again. I keep telling them, stop confusing the Calico Gazette for the Grim Gazette. The Grim one is the one I'm reading, as if I read any other ones. I'm sure you are all familiar with this case of Dr. Henry Jekyll and Mr. Edward Hyde, and how we haven't seen him in quite some time. Well, I have great news for you. He is back in business, and so he decided to drop off a little concoction of his own for us to sample sometime in the future. We shall see. Let's put this here for now. Now then. Spare mummy wrappings from the tombs of Egypt. Spare mummy teeth from the tombs of Egypt. He sheds a lot. Let's see. More wrappings. My goodness, he sheds more than a wolf. Speaking of which, now this item you can't necessarily see, but if you look close enough you might catch the silvery reflection of the full moon. You might even meet the very wolf man where this hair came from. Of course, I, being a skeleton, was quite nervous. Who knew that a wolfman could like bones so much? This one is especially scary, I'm sure. What you see before you are the 2 discarded dentures that I have found from Castle Dracula in Transylvania. Now, Dracula himself, well, I haven't had a bite from him in almost years. Not since last Halloween, anyway. Now, I wonder why he would choose to leave them out like that. Must be for his vampire dental appointment. Now, this little creature I have found hiding in the caverns of Glasgow. As you can see, it is the appearance of a little dragon made of bolts and iron. But if one gets too close to provoke the little thing, well, let's say that one of our volunteers was all cooked up in excitement. Now, this may not look too important to you. Just an iron cord that was left in the rubble of Castle Frankenstein. But, as you may know, this laboratory part was just one of many that was crucial to bringing one of the most ghastly creations ever. A huge hulking mass of dead tissue and organs, but with just enough electricity. He who has died may live once more. I hear tell that the monster is still roaming around the world to this very day. And finally, a simple pumpkin that I have harvested from the good place of Halloween Town. It is uncarved by a knife or by claws, yet it is still simple and effective. So there you have it. This is my own personal trick-or-treating pleasure that I have gathered from the past couple of months from the underworld and beyond. Now, on to the exciting news that I have promised you all. As I have mentioned in other places, big changes are coming to this particular program. And if I may elaborate, surely you will understand why. Now you see, dear friends, what you are seeing me through right now is one of these camera devices that you have discarded many years ago, right here in this mansion, out of fright, naturally. And when I took a good look at this camera, I was entranced and then had the idea of using this device to connect with all of you mortals in this internet that the spider has made conveniently for me. And I would connect with you, and you would connect with us in return. But I'm afraid that since I started, it seems that I myself have created a monster. From that day on, I kept on being bombarded with bright flashes coming from one of these strange devices. Ah! Infernal thing. Ugh. Sometimes I fear as if mortals are more invested in these little machines than us happy haunts. All 999 of us, and that is a lot. But then another lightning bolt has struck my skull before I taped it back on. You see, I overheard 2 mortals in particular discussing these other programs called podcasts. I'm still trying to figure out what the term itself comes from, but then I remembered that they remind me of a simpler time when I was alive and listening to radio plays on the old radio. You see, these audio programs that you all enjoy can be a new kind of medium for us. Really think about it. As Madame Leota has explained to me, they are sort of a travel companion for you. They come into your hearing as often as you like, and when you are ready to return home, they follow you there, much like many of our well-known happy haunts here in this haunted mansion. So, after much consideration and much thought, I have decided to depart from this visual medium and proceed into more audio mediums. You may not be seeing me for a long time. So what does this mean for the future of the show? Well, the show will go on in another state. That means that we will never depart from this mice chat land. And of course, we will never leave your mind. Now, as for me, I am rather sad to be leaving your sight for a while. I'm sure that you feel the same mutual way, but have no fear. You haven't seen the last of me. No. If you always want to drop in every now and then and say a quick boo, you may do so on our daily tours at Gracie Mansion. And don't forget, there's always my way.
Close your eyes and don't try to hide. Or a silly spook may sit by your side. Shrouded in the darkness hide. They pretend to terrorize. Grim pretty ghosts come out to socialize. As the moon climbs high over the dead oak trees, spooks arrive for the midnight train. Creepy creeps with eerie eyes start to shriek and harmonize. Grim pretty ghosts come out to socialize. When you hear the knell of a requiem bell, we're ghosting where spirits dwell. Restless bones ethereal-eyed, rise as spooks of every size.